A decoy is a chess tactic where you lure the opponent's piece to an undesirable square, which is then followed by a forcing sequence of moves to gain the advantage. For example, in this position, white can decoy the black king to the g8 square, from where a knight fork will be decisive. We play queen into g8 check, black is forced to take back, and now after knight e7 check, it's a fork, and we are a full piece up and should win easily. Now that you know what a decoy actually means, we're gonna solve 5 tactics ranging from a difficulty of 0 ELO, which is beginner level, to 2500 ELO, which is grandmaster level. Let's begin. So coming up on the screen is puzzle number 1, which is of 0 ELO to 500 ELO level, and here it is. In this position, black has just played b5 and now it is white to play. Pause the video and try to find the answer. The correct move is in fact en passant cb6. The point is, with whatever you take back, there will be either a pin or a skewer. By the way, I've covered both those tactics already, so you can check out the full playlist here. After cb6, one of the black pieces is decoyed to the b6 square, which is a very undesirable square, as you will see. If he takes queen into b6, then bishop c5 is a beautiful pin, and white will end up being a piece up and thus win the game. And if king into b6, then we go to bishop a5, and it's a skewer. When the king moves, we can just take the queen, and white is winning. Hope you found that. Let's move on to level number 2, which is 500 ELO to 1000 ELO. White to play. Pause the video and try to find the answer. Well, I hope you did pause the video. The correct answer is in fact rook h3 check. The point is, if you start with queen g6 check, then he can play king g8. And now you can play rook h3 with the idea of threatening mate. But the problem is, black has threats of his own. If you didn't see it, then black can take queen into a2, which is in fact mate. So white can't afford to waste time, and every move has got to be forcing. So that is why we first start with rook h3 check. And now as you can see, black's king has nowhere to go. But he can use this g5 bishop to interfere on the h file. If he goes bishop h4, then obviously we take the bishop and it's just mate. So the only viable option for him is to play bishop h6. But now here's the tricky part. You play rook into h6 check. The point is, the g7 pawn is pinned. Like I said, the pin, skewer and fork are really the backbone of all chess tactics. They're bound to come up in each and every tactic. So you should really check out those videos if you haven't already. After rook into h6 check, black has no other move apart from king takes h6. And now it's a very simple checkmate in one move. I hope you enjoyed. Let's go on to level number 3. In this position, white can win in fact in just 3 moves. White to play, and let's see if you can solve this puzzle, which has a difficulty level of 1000 ELO to 1500 ELO. So here's where the hard stuff starts. White to play. Pause the video and try to find the answer. Well, I hope you did pause the video. The answer is in fact knight f6 check. Quite unexpected sacrifice there. But as you can see, black has very few options. He can either go king h8 or he can take the knight. Well, if he goes king h8, then queen into f8 is just a mate. So the king was an important defender of the rook, and that is why he has to take g into f6. Now we play queen into f8 check. So we are decoying the king to the f8 square, so that after king takes f8, bishop h6 check, king g8. And rook e8 is mate, my friends. How did you like the puzzle? I'm sorry, I might have made a mistake. It's a 4-move puzzle, but still, you get the idea. Moving on to the next puzzle, which is level 4. So, intense stuff here. And quite unexpected. Level 4 has just 5 pieces. So, in this position, white needs to promote the pawn to win, and the pawn is going this way. So white to play, pause the video and try to find the answer. By the way, The ELO rating of this puzzle is 1500 to 2000 ELO. So it's really gonna be like a tough puzzle. Well, I hope you did pause the video. The correct answer is in fact A7. Pretty obvious, right? Didn't have to think much. We want to promote the pawn, so we push it. The tricky part lies in black's various defenses. Okay, if he plays rook g8 in order to directly stop the pawn, then you had to see bishop g3 check. The point is, the rook cannot take the bishop, because if it takes rook into g3, then a8 queen, and white has managed to successfully queen. Whereas if you move the king somewhere, then after bishop b8, it's in fact white will queen. After bishop b8, white will now queen and black can resign. So the only other try left is to give check. I mean, why not? Check him. And it's not a easy to fend off check. Normally, when you face check against a rook, what you do is you zigzag towards the rook and attack it until it can't give you checks anymore. But the problem in this case is that if you play something like king c1, he can play rook a2 and capture the pawn on the next move with a draw. So there are only two correct moves here, both having the same idea. You can either play king a1 or you can play king b1. Both work. The idea is essentially the same. After king a1, black again cannot go rook g8 for the same reason of bishop g3 check. So he has to keep giving us checks. And now here's where the decoy comes in. Bishop e1, brilliant move. I love this move mostly because black has no option. Again, if you go rook g8 here as well, bishop g3 is again a trusty resource which will win the game for white. So black has to keep giving checks, and the only way to do that is rook into e1. But now after rook into e1, white can just play king b2 and black can give a couple more checks. And okay, here you need to be careful of one more thing. Do not play king a4 whatsoever, because he can then play rook a1 and use the skewer against us. Now if we queen, in fact it is white who loses, because black will capture the queen on the next turn. And if you play king b5 so that you don't get skewered, black successfully draws with rook a1 and he'll take the pawn no matter what on the next move with a draw. So you don't want that. That is why you play king b4. It's also important not to play king c4, because then he will come to a3 and his mission is accomplished. So we need to keep control over the square on the a file which the rook is threatening to go to, but we do not have to step on the a file itself. So after king b4, he can give one more check. Again, we play king b5 and black can resign. I really applaud you and good job to you. Congrats if you made it all the way till level 4 without getting it wrong. Now let's move on to the hardest puzzle of this video, which is gonna be level 5. So level 5 is from 2000 ELO to 2500 ELO. So basically you're solving grandmaster levels puzzles right now. It's white to play. Pause the video and try to find the answer. Well, I hope you did pause the video. The correct answer is in fact rook h7 check. Yeah, I wouldn't think of this as the first move if I was calculating this. But obviously the rook a6 check, which is the obvious move, fails to king g7, because now there is no way for white to stop the c1 promotion. And after rook a7 check, king g8, black wins. Because you can try bishop f7 check, but after let's say king h8, again there is no way to make progress for white and black will inevitably promote on c1. So the only way to draw for white, and yes, this puzzle is a draw, white cannot win here despite being so much material up. The only way to draw here is to play rook h7 check. Now black is obviously forced to take the rook, because if you play king g5, then after rook h1, white will in fact win the game, because he has stopped the pawn and next up he will capture both the pawns and win the game. So that is infeasible. Black has to take the rook, and now we play bishop g6 check, another sacrifice. So the point is we need to get the king in the checking range of our knight, no matter how much material we have to give. Obviously, he has to take, because if he moves somewhere, then we can take this. And in fact, white can win again. It is possible to checkmate with a bishop and a knight. So black again has to take. And now we play knight f4 check. He plays king f5. And now again, you have to be careful here. Knight e2 is the correct move. If you play knight d3 with again the same idea of stopping c1 promotion, the problem is he gets his king with tempo. King e4, knight c1, king e3. Next stop is king d2 and it's over. So that isn't an option. We have to play knight e2, which is very precise. Now if the king tries to approach us with king e4, we can take knight c3 check and then get our king, draw the game. Obviously, he doesn't have to play king e4 and fall prey to our check. He can also come on the other way with king e5. But then again, king a2 and king b3, we reach just in time to capture both the pawns. And in fact, here you could have also taken knight c3. So a lot of moves draw here. Well, congrats to you if you solved this puzzle as well. But just in case you did, I have one final challenge for you. And it's really that big final boss of this video. Moving on to the bonus puzzle. So guys, this is the bonus puzzle for today. It's white to play and it's a composed position. That means it did not occur in a real game. So you have to keep that in mind as well while solving this puzzle. Good luck to you, and I will discuss the answer of this puzzle in the next video. Moving on to the answer of the bonus puzzle from the last video, which was skewer. So this was the puzzle I had given you in the skewer video, and the correct answer is actually very hard. If you solved it, I congratulate you. The correct answer is queen b4. My god. I mean, there are like probably a billion checks in this position, and out of all those tempting looking forcing moves, we played the most subtle queen b4. But truth is, this position here, my friends, is a zugzwang. What is a zugzwang? Well, as we had discussed in my endgame concepts video, do check it out if you haven't already. A zugzwang is a position where the side in zugzwang has no good moves to play. Any move they play worsens their position. Let me show you what I mean. Let's just say black moves his queen. I'm kidding. Black cannot move his king, so black will have to move his queen. Let's say he plays queen d5. Well, now we play queen a4 check, king b6, queen b3 check, a sacrifice, queen into b3 and promote queen skewer. So this will be the common theme throughout this puzzle. We always decoy the queen to an undesirable square and then promote with a skewer. So in fact, this is also count as a decoy puzzle in fact. Okay, if he plays queen f3, we follow a similar theme. Again, queen b3 check, promotes with skewer. And if he plays queen g2, again we play queen a3, queen b2. And now, same theme. So the only move where black doesn't get immediately skewered in two moves is in fact queen h1. Because our queen can't reach b1 while giving checks. That is temporarily. We can still play queen a3 check. When if he goes king b5, then we can play queen b2 check. And now he has two options. He can either go king a4 or king c4. If he goes king a4, then we play queen a2 check, king b4, queen b1. And we successfully accomplished our mission. So if he goes king c4, which is the other option, we can then play king a7. His king is too far away to stop the promotion of the pawn. And there is one check that black can give. Maybe two, but now the promotion of the pawn is inevitable. So that is why getting the black king too far will also allow the white king to escape. So here he can also play king b6 instead of king b5. But now we play queen b2 check. And again, he has very few options. He can play king c5, but again king a7, there are no checks and white queen successfully. Or he can play king c7 when we play queen h2 check. Queen into h2 promotes. And it's a skewer. And if he plays king a6, then again we win with this sequence of moves. That's it for today, guys. I hope you like this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, because that's how I will be able to keep making content like this. And if you like this video, please share it to your friends. Let me know in the comments below which puzzle you like the most. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.